Well, good morning, everybody. You're listening to the Repcolite Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Benjamin Moore. And before I jump in to what I've got planned for the show today, I want to make your day with a story that has had me laughing for weeks now. And it's probably going to have me laughing for years. See, my sister recently shared something that has unfolded over months now in her life, and it's just too good not to pass along. See, months ago, maybe a year ago, she gets a text from a lady at church asking if she could help in the nursery. Now, instead of typing a response like she normally would have, my sister scrolled through the emojis, found the thumbs up one, and sent that one. Quick and easy. A little bit later, another request comes through, maybe from the kids' school, I think it was. She scrolls through to the recently used emojis, finds the thumbs up, sends that. The pastor's wife texts and asks about something. Thumbs up. The neighbor texts, your garage door's open, just so you know. Boom, thumbs up. It became her go-to reply for everything for months. And then she gets a text from her sister-in-law asking something. She sends, the usual thumbs up, and then immediately gets a phone call. And the sister-in-law wants to know, what's going on? Why are you so mad? And my sister's completely confused. I'm not mad. I don't even know what you're talking about. Help me understand. The sister-in-law says, if you're not mad, why are you sending me the middle finger emoji? Think about that. My sister went back and looked through all of these previous texts, and rather than the thumbs up that she thought she had found, she had landed on the middle finger emoji, which apparently, if you don't have 20/20 vision, can look like a little blurry thumbs up. So the pastor's wife, the neighbor across the street, everybody has been getting the middle finger emoji every time they ask my sister for anything. I absolutely love that. If you ever botch a text or you feel socially awkward in an interaction, just remember my sister, and you're going to feel so much better about yourself. All right. I love that story. I wish I had more time to spend on it, but I don't. I've got to get to today's show. And today I'm joined by realtor Ginger Herman from Sue Prins Group, 5-star real estate leaders, for the entire show. And we're going to talk about everything from the state of the market to trends that are catching buyers' eyes, as well as how to get the best results when buying or selling. So a ton of stuff. It's really going to be good. And let's just jump right in. Ginger, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm a little sour just because Sue is usually with us and she's in warm weather.
Oh, okay. You're sour because she's normally with us, but she's in better weather than we are.
Yes.
You're not sour because she's not here.
Yes, correct. Or should I be sour because she's not here? No.
I don't know. It's your relationship with your mom.
Yeah.
So I'll let you sort that out.
No, she's in the 70s and 80s weather and we're in cold 20s. So I'm a little sour.
Yeah. You've been here once before without Sue. Sue-less, I think.
Yep.
But normally Sue's here.
Yeah.
She's normally very excited to come.
I know. We're missing you, Sue.
Yeah. Except she's in good weather, so we're not missing you that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get straight to it. The real estate market has been in a fair amount of flux over the last few years.
Yep.
Where are we at right now? Is it really that different from the last time you were on?
Only different because we are exiting our winter market and entering into the spring market. So I don't know last time we were here. I'm guessing it was maybe late fall, early winter, and we were entering into the slow time, which is usually when we tell people, buyers, get on board. Let's purchase homes. But now it's almost like you've missed your chance. If you want a deal, or if you want, I use deal lightly, right? Or if you want to not compete with anyone else, it's almost like you've missed your chance. As of this week, it's all of a sudden these buyers are coming out of the woodworks, and here they come, and they want to get pre-approvals, and we're gonna get ready to purchase. I think a big thing, election's over, right?
Did you see a big change from that?
We more so see not necessarily who's in office.
Just that it's set now.
Yes. People don't like uncertainty of who's going to go into office. So people are feeling a little bit like, okay, we know who is going into office. We know kind of maybe what's going to happen within this next year. Bad weather. Yes, we might still have some more bad weather come, but it's not like we're entering or in the middle of bad weather. I don't know if the groundhog saw their shadow, but
I think it did,
okay.
Or whatever. It was the worst case scenario where we end up with longer winter.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So maybe we are in the middle of winter. What if this is the middle of winter? What if you knew that ahead of time? What if we could foresee? This is why God doesn't let us see the future.
It'd be
Things like
chaos.
this,
Yeah.
It would just be
No.
raiding the grocery store.
Yes.
It's over.
Yes.
I don't want this to be the middle of
Yeah.
winter. It's got to be on its last legs.
Well, and I usually tell our buyers and sellers, watch the weather. Like, if you start to see us mellowing out here in Michigan, we're probably going to hit our spring market sooner. Or if something happens with rates. But I know everyone wants to know what's happening with rates, and they're fluctuating in like the high 6s, low 7s. And they'll probably be that way this whole year. We have so many buyers just, we talk about this, I think, almost every segment. They're waiting for them to drop. You kind of almost lose money as you wait for it to drop. Because, okay, so last year, the rates were 7s, pretty consistently throughout the whole year. And our market still increased by 8%. Like, people were still purchasing and selling homes. And I think 6s are going to be like our new normal. And truly, it is a healthy interest rate if you look at the market as a whole. Will they ever reach the 5s again? Probably, but probably not anytime soon. I think people are still nervous about the inflation that's going on out there. There's still some uncertainties there. So I think our interest rates are going to stay consistently, high 6s, low 7s.
Don't be waiting on jumping into the market if that's what you're waiting on.
Right.
You're probably not going to see this big dip anytime soon.
And it would, if we saw a dip, it would probably happen slowly. So it wouldn't be, all of a sudden next month, you're, a
It's
full
almost,
percentage lower. No, it's not going to happen.
Almost a little tricky because it goes down a little bit. Okay, we'll just keep waiting. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's such a slow thing. You can drag this out forever.
Yeah.
And it is sad. I mean, I didn't know you were going to start with the windows closing, or pretty much you missed your chance. I forget how you said it, but it's like if I had sound effects, I'd play the scary sad music.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Wah, wah.
That's what I would, wah, wah.
No, but I don't want to be all negative because it is still.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's early in the morning.
I see where you're leading me.
Well, no, you've got to be honest, though. And
yes.
If that's the case, that's what you said 3 months ago. And if anything else, it just proves that whatever comes out of your guys' mouths, just people ought to listen.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, whether it's good or bad, we're going to tell you the truth.
So we've got all of that going on. The market is starting to bump up.
Yeah, so we're starting, yes. And I mean homes that have been sitting on the market for 45, 50 days are all of a sudden in this past couple weeks starting to get offers, and some of them even multiple offers, which buyers are always like, what? I waited 50 days and then now here, another buyer waited 50 days and we're both writing on this house at the same time. That's big indicators for us that we're entering into our spring market. And even the new homes that pop up on the market. Remember how we used to do offer deadlines, right? Where you'd wait 5 days to review offers. I've seen in the past couple of days now, people are starting to post their home and already posting, hey, we're doing an offer deadline. Instead of in the winter, we didn't really do offer deadlines. We waited to see if we had multiple buyers wanting to purchase this house. Now it's like people are already just putting them right on the listing, right up front. Hey, we're going to do an offer deadline. So that's our indicators that we're now entering spring market. It's not, I would say it's not full blown because we still see houses sit on the market for a couple weeks. But we got buyers coming out of, I don't know. What would you call it? Where are they coming out of?
I'm intrigued to find out where these buyers are coming out of.
All I was thinking of was watching the groundhog pop out of his little box or hole or whatever he comes out of. That's our buyers. They're now popping up and they're like, okay, we're ready.
Or Homer Simpson in the hedge. Have you? He kind of just oozes out of the hedge and then he goes back in. The buyers are just coming out. Look out your window. They're emerging.
Yeah.
So that's good, right? That's good for sellers. It's going to be crazy, a little bit crazy for buyers. All right, I want to take a break right now, and then when we come back, I want to talk about people jumping into the market who are thinking about selling in this market. What are some of the things they should be thinking about? We'll get to all of that in just a minute with Ginger Herman. Stick around. And we're back. You're listening to the Repco Light Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Benjamin Moore. And I'm talking with Ginger Herman from Sue Prins Group, 5-star real estate leaders. And Ginger, we started our conversation last segment, but I'm curious, if you're out there listening and you're thinking about selling, as we're heading into this, what are some of the things that they should be thinking about?
I have multiple sellers right now that I am doing like a weekly update with them on the market. So we're waiting for kind of like the best time to list. Honestly, they could list
So they're
right now.
potential sellers.
Yes. Yep.
Waiting. Okay.
They all want to list within the next couple of months. And weekly on Friday, I open up the market and I see what's in their neighborhood. Has any homes popped up or have any homes gone, pending? And we're kind of doing this weekly back and forth. Like, all right, I think you should jump now. I think you shouldn't jump now. Let's wait 2 more weeks. We're kind of doing that.
It varies by neighborhood potentially?
Yes. Yep. By area, by neighborhood. There's so many factors.
Yeah. If you guys could see how she just shook her head at me, and clearly, I'm a moron when it comes to this.
No,
I know.
You're just not the expert.
Well, I know. Yeah, your eyes told me that much and more. So it's not like now's the time, or not necessarily. There's probably a generic. Now's the time to jump in.
Yeah.
But it can be very, very specific based on your location. If things are moving, maybe there's interest over there and now's the time to jump in.
Yeah. So I usually tell my clients, even if you're thinking about selling, maybe it's the summer, call us now or call your realtor now. Already start that conversation so that you can see where the market is headed.
So that's really good. That's really good info for sellers. What about buyers? Because now it's like Lord of the Flies. Or maybe. It's not yet.
It's not yet. So
but that's what it was.
Yes.
Is it going to ever be that again? We don't know.
Yeah,
what
I think it will come like full.
Wah.
Yeah, again, sorry. I think spring and summertime, we have all indicators pointing towards we're going to have another crazy market. Especially, I think we talked about this last time I was on the show. Election years are always, everyone's up in the air and a little bit hesitant after election year. They all are like, all right, we're ready to go. So that will definitely be a crazy experience.
So what strategies are out there for buyers?
So for buyers, I know you said, what do they do now? I definitely go get the pre-approval right now, because even if you're not ready to purchase for another month or two, we really need to know what program that you're approved for and what price. And you might have the most perfect home pop up in 2 days. And then if you didn't get your pre-approval, you're not ready to jump on it, right? So if you're a buyer, I would say definitely move today, at least in the least, just to get the pre-approval letter.
What if I'm debating, like, do I want to jump in? I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure. It's still worth getting the pre-approval? I mean, what's involved in the pre-approval?
Yes.
Do I pay anything for a pre-approval?
No.
I'm an idiot, so I can ask all this.
No, you're not an idiot.
No, well, your eyes said I was.
No, I did
Ginger,
not.
Yes. I can live with it. I'm cool with being an idiot.
Here's what's good, though, is you're thinking on the side of someone that hasn't done this before, and us as realtors, we're in it every day. So you're asking good questions.
That's a really nice way to say that. I'm kind of dumb on this, but that's fine. I can live with it.
Yes.
What do I do? Do I jump in and at least get that pre-approval? Because like you said, I've been in that boat years back.
Yep.
And, maybe we should think about, because you see a house that you like. It's not for sale, but you think, that's kind of a fun house.
Yep.
It would be nice to move. Let's maybe think about moving. Let's think about that. And 3 weeks later, that house goes on the market, and we're stunned, and then we're hurrying.
Yes.
And we've never
scrambling.
been able, you can't get it done fast
It's stressful. You do not pay for a pre-approval, and just in the sense of being able to sit down with a lender and someone that can look over your full finances all together and see what makes sense for you.
And they can weep with me.
Yeah, either weep or cheer. Okay.
Weep. But at least we'll know what I can afford.
Yes.
This outhouse might be just right for you and your family of 6, 5, however many.
Well, and even the lender, after reviewing all of your financials, might tell you, this is the perfect time, to purchase something, or let's, pay off this credit card or do something with this. Why don't you purchase in the next 30 days, maybe 45 days? Let's boost your credit score, whatever it may be, right?
Really, really good really good info. You kind of create a strategy, a plan.
Yes.
To iron out some obstacles that you might not have even thought about.
Yes. Before the house pops up in the market and you either can't afford it or it's not the right time, you can't get the pre-approval fast enough, whatever it may be, Right. Have the conversation now.
So sellers, have your conversation, start talking to your realtors, if you're thinking about selling, find out when the right time is. Buyers, that pre-approval, and have those conversations.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk about styles and stuff like that. I guess I'm wondering about home design trends. What are buyers really drawn to right now? What are you seeing out there?
We're seeing change in paint colors, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this and seen this just as the colors of the year come out, but it's almost like white is on its way out, and these like soft nudes, beiges are coming in. A lot of the new build homes going up, it's now like an off-white cream or like a very soft yellow or something.
All right, so
throughout
the
the whole
white
home
that we've had for a while is...
Now, and I don't want to say it's out. That's why I said it's kind of on its way out, because we just don't see as much of it anymore. There's definitely still houses going in that have white. I mean, I built last year and I put all white in my whole house.
I was trying to remember. I thought I remember those conversations. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So you're going to repaint everything?
I already brought it up to my husband. Like, I'm kind of thinking about repainting. He said, "No, we're not." He used the "were." No, we're not.
Yeah. No, I'm not so sad to see that go.
I know. It doesn't bring much warmth into the home until you either bring in furniture, natural woods, or artwork on the wall, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't bring much warmth.
You're seeing a lot of beige.
A lot of beige.
Not terribly. I mean, can they name it something different?
Yeah.
I mean, beige. It's about
I should have came in here today with a better term than beige.
Well, no, that's what it is.
But that's what it is. Yeah. And then we're also seeing bright, I don't want to say bright colors. It's more of like deep colors.
Jewel tone colors.
Yes. And I should have came up with a better word for this. Accent walls, right? Remember when we all hated accent walls? But maybe it's because it was just so heavily used years ago that everyone was like, quit with the accent walls.
Of course it was heavily used. Wait a minute. We can paint one of the 4 walls and have some... Who wouldn't get on board with that?
Yes. And
paint companies weren't so big on it, but everybody else
No,
was.
they're selling their smallest bottle.
But then, it's everywhere.
Yes, it's everywhere.
So it died off a little bit.
Yep. And now it's back.
Seeing more of that.
We're seeing, and I would love to come up with a better term than accent wall. So if you come up with one, let me know. It's either accent wall or the whole room, including the ceiling. And
so that's color drenching.
So we're seeing color drenching, but I've noticed that builders are only doing it in like the office.
Okay.
And I think it's because they want to start to get the feedback from the buyers as to if they like it. If they like it enough, I think they'll use it more so in bedrooms or whatever it may be. But they're kind of playing with this in offices. And if you think about it in a builder standpoint, if they're building a spec house, they don't have a customer in mind. It is scary for them, right? To throw something out there.
Yeah.
And hope that a buyer likes it. At least it's only one room. You can repaint one room easily.
Right, but still, color drenching, that's about, because normally what we would hear in the past, they did a lot of grays, Revere pewter was everywhere through the entire home.
Yep.
And it's kind of boring in a way. I mean, there's a lot of people who, would go to bat for Revere pewter. It. But it is kind of bland in a big, sweeping house. But it's really easy to work with. You can work around it. You can see yourself in that because it kind of just fades away.
Yes.
When you're looking through a house, I'm not seeing that.
Yeah.
It's not challenging me. If I walk into a space that's, the ceiling's painted, the trim, everything, it's color drenched in a, whatever color they're choosing.
Yeah.
Wow. Because if I don't like that,
Yep.
it's not just, I'll repaint. I've got to repaint the ceiling, the trim.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a bigger deal.
I'm surprised they're doing that.
Yeah.
Now, I think what I want to do is keep this conversation going, but we have to take a break. So let's do that, and then we'll pick things up on the other side. Stick around. And we're back. You're listening to the Repco Light Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Benjamin Moore, and I'm in the studio with Ginger Herman from Sue Prins Group, 5-star real estate leaders. And Ginger, we ended last segment talking about how you're seeing, more and more new homes incorporate color drenching into the paint job. And color drenching, just to recap, it's painting the entire room, walls, ceiling, trim, doors, all of it in one color drenching. You're seeing more of that. But how do you feel about it? What do you think when you see it?
I like it because it's something different, right?
Do you think you like it as a person, or do you like it as a professional who sees a lot of houses and it's like, oh, this is nice, it's different?
Both. We color drenched 2 of our rooms in our current home. So I was nervous to do it, but I love it. And yeah, in the professional standpoint, yes, I like it because it's different and people remember it. So whether they loved it or hated it, there, you see 5 houses, let's say, with this buyer, and they walk away at the end of the day. And when they go to categorize their houses, they'll probably say, "Oh, and then that one house that had the all black office or whatever." It's something that they are remembering, whether it was good or bad. And I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, I know we went to years back. I remember on the show, I went and toured some Pray to Homes houses, for the show and talked about them and stuff like that. And one of the takeaways that we had was everything was Revere pewter. We went through 7 different houses I think we picked, and we didn't know going in what we were going to find. But wow, it's all the same color, all the same color, all the same color. By the 4th house, I don't have a terribly great perception of. I'm not a good navigator. If I spin around twice, I don't know which way's which. And so by the 4th house, I'm walking through it, and I'm, in all my wisdom, I think Betsy was the one who was hosting the show with me at that point, and I was saying, we've been here before.
Yeah.
She was a good navigator, and she said, we haven't been here before. Stop saying that.
This is new.
It felt like the same stinking house.
Yep.
And then we went to one that had a lot of the same color, but it had 2 rooms, like a sunroom and another, like a family room living area that was completely different. A deep blue on the walls of one. So memorable. Yep. I mean, I can still picture that room.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you anything about the other room. So I know that can be really effective.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when you say people talk about it, whether it's good or bad, they remember it. What do you hear from people who've looked at them? Do they seem to like that? Or is it a split, even split?
I would say it's an even split. I think it depends on what they're using the room for. So a lot of my clients, one of the partners works from home, or if it's, just a single person too. A lot of people work from home or have a home office, and that almost whatever room that they've color drenched or made a little bit different, right? Maybe they put French doors in, or they did funky light fixtures or something. They usually gravitate towards like, oh, this is going to be a really cool office. That's usually what I'm finding. So I think people like it for the most part. If it's like, oh, this was going to be my toy room for my kids and it's all black, they might paint that. It doesn't bring much creativity for kids' young minds.
Joy or
yeah.
It seems like an orphanage in a Dickens story. Yeah.
And then we're also seeing, just to switch from paint colors, we're seeing no one's really doing shiplap anymore. That's kind of...
Oh, that's a done deal.
That I don't want to say it's done.
Oh, that's right.
People are still kind of doing it, unless more so if it's custom.
There's somebody out there right now whose afternoon was going to be putting shiplap on.
So I'm trying to be careful.
They just switched off the radio.
Yes.
You can say what you want to say now.
Where I see it, if it's a new build, like thrown in the laundry room or a half bathroom. So it's just a small space. We've added some sort of texture to the wall, right? But people doing these feature walls, now we're seeing a lot more like natural woods, or I don't even know how to describe this, but it's like they put up a lot of trim and a funky pattern and then painted over it. Does that make sense? Would you have a term for that? You're looking at me like you have no idea.
No, I think I can picture what you're saying.
Right. So they've put some trim up and some sort of pattern along the wall, and it's usually not very symmetrical. It's an asymmetrical, funky design. They've painted over the whole entire thing.
Trim up.
Oh,
it's
okay.
All asymmetrical.
So your house is quirky.
That was part of the design. So they're putting it not just on the where baseboard or something would be.
It would be like a feature wall.
Okay.
Yes. Instead of shiplap, we're seeing more of that. Or we're seeing natural wood. So we're seeing like slatted,
yeah.
Slatted walls of natural wood, which kind of ties into, we're not seeing as much white kitchen cabinetry anymore. We're seeing woods come back again. Yeah. I would say like soft tones, right? Not like the dark wood from the 90s or the 2000s, but warmer woods.
Much warmer.
Yes. So like white cabinetry, yeah, I still see it in maybe more like 20 to 25% of the homes. But
so even
now,
cabinetry,
yep, starting to either get all color or that natural wood tone.
How deep are the colors that you're seeing on the cabinetry?
Usually pretty deep.
Both
Or
uppers and lowers
at least,
the same? Or are they
at least
splitting them?
the lowers in the island dark might do a lighter tone on the top. Yes.
Wow.
And when I talk colors being brought in, most of it is blues and greens that we're seeing color brought in.
Wow.
Are you surprised, or do you think I'm wrong?
No, I think I'm the expert here.
Oh, right, yes.
Ginger.
Yes.
No, I think you're right. And I'm just sucking in all the information. It's interesting. What's interesting to me is that I'm thinking back. See, I like to be right. This is an embarrassing admission.
No, it's not.
No, it is. You don't know where I'm going.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So, I worked with Haley.
Yep.
And I really want her to hear this. I think I'm going to play a clip to her and just send it to her. She doesn't work with me anymore. She still works for Repcolite. But I remember, because blue and green, these are my things. And I talked about it, man. She would scoff at me. Whether it was on air or off, she would pull her nose up, shake her head every time I'd bring them up.
And be like, no.
I was seeing the future. And now, it's now. This is the time of Dan.
This is it.
I want her to know that. So it's a little embarrassing that I'm that petty, but I am.
No, that's all right. I think it's a big deal for you.
It is. I like to be right. It's really fun. So color, that's really interesting. I like that. I'm glad to see at least a shift or a turn slightly away from the all white.
Yeah.
It's warmer, and there's a lot of personality that can be infused that way. I think it's difficult. I mean, it's certainly possible to infuse, personality and what you feel about your space with just white. Surely that's possible. But yet there's so much of it.
Yep.
It's kind of nice to see, when there's all these different colors to choose from.
Yes.
If you want that all black, color-drenched kids' playroom, funhouse, horror show, you can do that.
Yep.
All right. So that's kind of cool. So paint colors, you're seeing that.
Yep.
Wood elements.
Yep.
Anything else that jumps out at you?
No, I really don't. You know what? I mean, and people probably say this wouldn't be a trend, but we're seeing some funky furniture. And I don't know if that's just the recent homes that I've walked through. And maybe that's because we had so many years of white and gray, but I'm seeing a lot of funky furniture come through.
Okay, I need to know what that means. What do you mean? Funky
bright
colors?
Bright colors, yep.
Okay.
And multiple colors, meaning let's say you have a couch that's dark green, and then you throw in orange chairs or something.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, maybe it's just I happen to be walking through all these houses that have funky furniture. And maybe that was a way for people to bring in color in their gray and white houses. They were like, well, we need something, so let's get funky furniture.
But you haven't seen it before. You're starting to see
Correct.
it now. Have you been through furniture stores recently?
No, but now I should.
That would be
You know, I feel like that was a bash at me. I should have done that before I walked into here.
Well, take it how you will.
I will.
So, okay, that's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
I got to dig into that. Maybe I'll go to some furniture stores. Seems to be something you might have wanted to do before you said that. I guess let's move on. If someone is selling, someone's selling, what upgrades, small upgrades, maybe big upgrades, what do you think, makes the biggest impact? If we're, and before I let you do that, answer that, I'm always curious, if we're looking at the Lord of the Flies occurring, do they need to make small updates? Is it even worth it?
It's such a broad question for me because I know.
So now we're just barbing back and forth.
Yes, because I'm going to tell you, and I hate saying this, but I'm going to tell you it depends. And it depends on what is in their house. If they have all brass hardware in their kitchen from the 70s and 80s, that's something I would tell them, we might want to switch everything out for black. It's a cheap fix, right? Or you walk in the home and there's this gaudy light that no one's going to want. It's the first thing you walk in.
Those people want it.
Yeah, those people want
They're
it.
the only people on the face of the earth.
They're the only ones. Yep.
I have 4 of those lights at my house.
Okay, well, maybe let's work on your house next. We should do a walkthrough of your house.
No, I still talk about the time that Sue came through to give me a price for what my house would be on the market.
Did she bash you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
typical
of her.
Very kind and honest. Except, she was all of those things. but she kept touching my countertops. And then she'd look at her hand like maybe some of it had rubbed off
no.
on her. And she said, Dan, your countertops.
Oh, no.
And I said, I know, Sue, they've got to be changed. And then later, these countertops. And sometimes she'd be in the middle of a sentence.
And she'd go back.
Stop
She was so
and
stuck on it.
Yes.
So she must have hated your countertops.
I'm keeping them. I'm keeping them. So anyway, so you're seeing, the light fixtures.
Yeah, light fixtures are a relatively easy and cheap thing to switch out in hardware. And I say that because we're still in a heavily black fixtured, world. Sometimes we see the gold, but it's a different gold than what the 80s were. So I might offer to help you switch out some hardware or some light fixtures. Paint, I don't know, not as big of a deal to buyers if we're in the Lord of the Flies crazy market.
Lord of the Fries.
I know. I stopped myself.
Delicious.
Thank you. So if we're in that craziness, you might not have to paint, but same thing. It totally depends on your house. Because if everything is wrong, I say everything, then yeah, we might want to put more heavily influence on the paint or doing
So it's
multiple.
a case by case kind of a thing.
Case by case. So that's why just have us or your realtor walk through your house and give advice now, because then you have time to do these updates.
Yeah,
will probably bring you more money.
Well, right. I was going to ask that. I assume that. And I think it makes the case for, I know we talk about it every time you're here just because it's the right thing to talk about, but it's easy to want to I'll just do this for sale by owner thing. And yes, there's a lot of complications where you've got to figure out how to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But even just having somebody who's got, market savvy, who can help you see things that you don't see. Because quite honestly, I joke about those counters because she was, my stomach, it's the Lord of the Fries. Nobody heard it, but my stomach went crazy.
Growled.
I'm so hungry. I joke about the counters that Sue talked about, but I appreciated that because I noticed them when I moved in, and then I've been there a year.
So you don't care anymore?
I didn't care. It's not new or strange to me. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
There's bigger problems. But if somebody else comes through, like a realtor who knows what people will pull their nose up at a little bit, who might make them pause.
Yeah.
If I can get those things fixed and it's relatively inexpensive, hardware, stuff like that, like you said, that can play out to bigger money down the road.
Yes. Or even just getting the buyer to write on your house instead of the house down the street where maybe they only did, cabinetry.
They have my counters.
Or they have your counters, right? It could have been such a small difference to the next house that they're looking at, but it's like one less item on their list that they have to worry about switching out. And who knows, they might never switch it out, but it's a big deal to them at the time that they're walking through houses.
All right, I think that's a perfect spot for a break. Let's play some commercials, and then we'll come back and finish this conversation in the next segment. Stick around. And we're back. You're listening to the Repcolite Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Benjamin Moore, and I'm in the studio with Ginger Herman from Sue Prins Group, 5-star real estate leaders. Ginger's been here the whole show, just dishing out all kinds of good info. And we've got one last segment to go. And Ginger, I just want to jump right back into basically right where we left off at the end of the last segment. When you're talking to people who are selling, I know that there's something inside most sellers. They find themselves wanting, or at least feeling like they should, paint and do things like that. But I'm assuming buyers come in almost sometimes expecting and planning on doing a fair amount of that themselves. They want that to be their place.
Yes.
So you could spend a lot of time as a seller.
Yeah, doing that.
And they're going to redo it.
Yep.
Do you see that they generally tend to want to redo that, or what do you see?
It depends on how much funds they have coming in. If they're spending a majority of their funds just to get into a house, and they don't have the funds to then update the home, after. So it kind of depends. But me as a buyer's agent, when I walk through the house, I'm trying to focus on layout and structure of the home, because the rest of it can be fixed. No, maybe not within the first year if you're trying to replenish your bank account. But let's focus on, do you actually like this layout, this neighborhood? Is the house sound? Are you going to have major, a furnace expense or something like that coming up? Let's try to focus on that. And then let's joke and laugh about the paint color that they chose, but shouldn't be a huge deal.
No, if I can live with the counters that I've lived with, clearly you can live with something for a while.
Yes, exactly.
So inspections a while back, when it was crazy, inspections were being waived, right? Yeah. What do you think now? We're doing inspections now.
Yes.
Do you anticipate that we're going to be back to waiving inspections?
When
you bring up the furnace thing, that's a little scary to...
Yeah.
That's where you catch some of that stuff.
Yeah. We will probably still see people waive inspections. It's not near as what it used to be closer to COVID years when everyone was waiving inspections just to get the house. So that's a major positive, where it's not like a done deal. Seller's not going to accept your offer if you didn't waive inspections. I think because both sides of it, both the listing agent and the buyer side, we like it if inspections happen. For one, after the sale, if something comes up, it's such a bigger ordeal. Mm-hmm. If they're like, we found this and you didn't include it on your seller's disclosures, and it's an easier way to say, well, did you get inspections? No, you didn't look into that. You chose to waive that. You now have to deal with it after the sale, right? So I think both sides are like, no, it's actually a really good thing for us to have inspections. Let's get this done up front. That way we don't have issues down the road after closing.
You're just hoping that doesn't completely go away again.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, last thing that I've got, maybe one common mistake. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch, but maybe one common mistake that you see buyers or sellers making, maybe one for each one that they should avoid, and maybe it's something you've already talked about.
I do think it's something I've already talked about. It's not doing your homework up front and just wanting to dive in, whether it's a seller wanting to I want to list my house next week, or a buyer finding the house and calling us and saying, I want to get this. And we say, have you talked to a lender yet? No. It's super important to just talk with your professional, your expert realtor up front, and then along with that, your lender or your financial advisor, or whoever that you are getting financial advice from. Do that now. Don't wait until now. It's a rush. It's chaos. It's so stressful then on the process of buying or selling. We're here to try to make this easier and take a lot of the stress out of, from you. Mm-hmm. However, if you set yourself up for a little bit of the disaster, we can't take all of that stress away. Yeah.
Not magic like that.
Mm-hmm. So I would say get all of this done well ahead of when you actually think that you're going to purchase. Yeah. Because like you said, the house always comes up on the market when you are not expecting it.
And it's such a bummer.
It is a bummer.
And then you drive past that house all the time.
Waving at it.
Even after you bought your other house, you took what you could find.
Yeah.
But you drive past the house that could have been yours.
Yep.
I mean, maybe that could happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I always drive past the house that I missed.
To go along with not doing your homework, we have clients that think, oh yeah, I can't afford to move, or I don't want to take the higher interest rate. Sit down and talk with us and the lender first. There's a big chance that we can make this move and it's actually going to make sense for you.
So if you're thinking basically that 2025 is going to be a year that you might want to sell, you might want to buy, you might want to jump in, just get all the stuff handled.
Yep, do it now.
If you change your mind.
Yeah, there's no harm done. Like we talked about, there's no fees.
Yeah, realtors aren't mad at you.
No.
You're not going to stalk people.
No, I won't. I will leave them alone. I promise. You're looking at me like I won't. I promise I will.
I've seen your Instagram page. Ginger does a lot of stuff on her Instagram page where she's got a cardboard sign in the stand places.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Never in front of people's houses, though, saying, why? Why not me?
Oh, but that just gave me the idea. Now I'm going to.
So when they see, she never stalks people.
Yeah,
Go check out her page.
Yep.
That's what you're getting in for. If they do want to reach out to you or Sue, who failed to make the meeting today because she's off vacation in warmer weather.
Yes.
If they want to get in touch with you guys, how do they find you?
Yeah, my cell, 616-633-5880, and then Sue's 616-723-2400.
All right, I'll put all of that in the show notes. Ginger, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having me.
And that's going to do it. If you'd like to catch this episode again, you can find it online at repcolite.com. You can find it there. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on YouTube. Go find it wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe, and you'll never miss another episode. All right, whatever you do today, make sure paint's a part of it. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you next week. I'm Dan Hansen. Thanks for listening.